trebuchet, Roan.
They're retreating!
Light those bastards up!
One catapult down! Roan, you get the rest while we provide cover!
You might not remember the launch of the PlayStation 3, but in 2006 Nintendo was on the way with their Wii console, and motion controls were the next big thing. Sony wanted to get in on the motion control business and came up with the Sixaxis controller for the PlayStation 3. In fact, they were so dedicated to the Sixaxis and motion control thing that they completely cut out any rumble function from the original launch PlayStation 3 controller. The one game that was really supposed to sell motion control on the PlayStation 3 was Lair. The idea of the game was that you rode on the back of the dragon and was able to control the dragon like using the reins on a horse, which meant when you pulled it back or side to side you should be able to fly the dragon around. In fact, they were so proud of having implemented the feature that you can still find video on the disc of the developers excitedly talking about the capabilities of motion control.
Sixaxis controller on the PlayStation 3. In all of our previous games, we spent a lot of time tweaking the analog controllers and trying to make it feel natural. But now that we have a tilt sensor in the controller, we're able to give the player this really intuitive feedback loop where just by moving the controller, it's like pulling on the reins of the dragon and you just feel like you're in control.
Of course, the whole motion control thing didn't work at all. The game was massively slammed in the press for having unresponsive and poor controls, and it was so bad that they eventually patched in an option to control the dragon with the analog sticks. But by that time the damage was done and Lair is forever known as a very bad game. But how bad is it really? Let's take a look.
The Mokai, however, seek to control nature with their pagan technology. Their steam machines are an affront to God and stoke the flames of the volcanoes that have been sent to punish us. If there is one sin
I'm awake,
no
Ron.
man can
Big
ever
night.
be forgiven, it is
Cousins.
to act.
Yours?
It is our duty to cleanse these heretics and their machines.
In Lair you take the role as the Dragon Knight Roan Partridge, who is a defender of the kingdom of Azulia, who finds themselves under attack of the other kingdom in the world called the Mokai. This is a bit of a spoiler, but the only reason that the Mokai are attacking the Azulians are for the simple reason that they are out of food and resources and live in a completely arid and desert wasteland. This all leads to a bit of confusion and political intrigue before Roan is ultimately betrayed and finds himself joining the Mokai instead.
Easy, girl.
With the analog stick control enabled, there's actually some pretty cool gameplay found in Lair. It plays a bit like an arcade flight simulator, sorta like Ace Combat, where you're flying around in the air, acquiring targets and shooting fireballs at them. You also have the added option of engaging in melee combat with other dragons in the air, and in order to replenish your health you can also land on the ground and have your dragon snack on the soldiers. The level variety is actually pretty great as well. Sure, the color palette is mostly just browns and greys, but the types of encounters and battles you fight in is massively diverse. For instance, one mission has you protecting transport units who carries bombs on their back that you can pick up and throw down to blow up buildings on the ground. Here's another mission that's a night operations mission where you gotta sneak in past enemy searchlights and shoot down some power lines. and I would not like to have been the one who had to navigate through these searchlights back when the game only supported motion controls. If you put aside the fact that the game doesn't look super great, being a very early PlayStation 3 game and not as graphically capable as some of the later games, it still does have some slight problems with the controls. There's a sort of weird magnetic pushback from enemies and buildings, where you're sort of pushed away when you get close to them. At least that means that you won't crash into anything, but it is slightly disorienting. With no real minimap and only the arrow on the top of the screen to point you in the right direction, it sometimes gets a little bit confusing and hard to figure out where the enemies are exactly. Another sign that this is a pretty early PlayStation 3 game is that the developer used the extra space on the Blu-ray disc to put on a bunch of production videos and behind the scenes pictures. Including these pictures of a bunch of production babies. They all look like they've just been crying. Maybe they've been playing Lair with motion controls. There's even a cheat code option in the main menu. While I couldn't find any cheats that give you invulnerability or unlimited lives or level skip, you can enter chicken in the menu to get some video of some delicious takeaway chicken. That looks pretty good. And another thing that looks pretty good is the concept for Lair. It's sort of weird that besides the Dragon Guard series by Square Enix, there haven't really been any other games where you fly around on the back of a dragon and burn people and cut them in half. And to me that sounds like one of the most video gamey things ever. So it's weird, it's something that there definitely should be more of. So hey, if Sony comes along on E3 and says, hey, we're making a new Lair game, I'm all for it, because it is a pretty cool game.
Bullseye! Its legs are vulnerable now. Take me in close so I can use my striker.